As I entered the chasms, it struck me how much darker it was in there. The shadows were black as ink, and although I tried not to be afraid, I couldn't help but shiver. Was it the darkness that frightened the villagers as well, or was it something else?
Welcome in, everyone. We're just about to continue with more A Story About My Uncle. I know it's been a while, and there should probably be an update video accompanying this, but the long and the short of it is, or just the short of it, I suppose, is that my computer stopped working, and then I fixed it, and now it works, and that's the short of it. So we're here in the Chasms, which is actually, I think, one of the cooler areas in the game. Then again, honestly, I just believe the game gets cooler with every area you visit. And we should be heading that direction, but over here, something for us. Looks like a timeline of life for the frog people.
Tell me something else you did with Fred.
Well, early one summer morning, Fred took me down to the lake to watch the mayflies. Everything was still and quiet. The larvae floated on the lake's surface and slowly transformed into beautiful mayflies. Fred told me that they had been living on the bottom of that lake for a whole year, and that they would only live as adults for one single day.
That's sad. What if the only day you were out of the water was a rainy day?
That would be sad indeed.
And it's all a matter of perspective, I suppose, although you probably know how I feel about rainy days based on the channel you are watching. It's pretty much just getting us used to the fact that we have 3 grapples and mastering the carrying of momentum, which is pretty important. Also, if we go in this direction, there's something interesting, but, very mysterious. We cannot read this. There might be an interpretation for it, but there's also a mysterious glowing blue plant. It's the same color as Fred's adventure suit. So, I suppose it makes sense that our adventure suit would activate it. If we go up here, though, and down here. And that's the readings for that. And ahead we find all kinds of runes.
Maddie?
Hi, I'm glad you came. Sorry about back there. I just get so frustrated. They cling so desperately to what they know, won't ever do anything new. It feels better when Fred is around, but...
I told Madeline I didn't mind, and I asked her what she was doing with the book.
Oh, this? These writings? It's like a secret language. They are done by people who left the village long ago. They're called the Strays, but no one wants to talk about them. I started translating their language with help from a stray book that Fred found. This one says, "Don't move when the eye is open," I think. I wonder what it means. Whatever. We should get going. Why don't you take me on your back? It'll be faster if you carry me. I used to piggyback on Fred all the time. Turn around and I'll hop up. You're not going to drop me, right? Okay, let's go.
Madeline climbed up on my back, and with the suit on, I could barely feel the extra weight. The winding, narrow tunnels felt like they were closing in on me. They were oddly long and twisting, almost like someone or something had dug them out. With Maddie on my back, I had to be careful not to bump her head on the ceiling.
Yeah, the architecture here, not just like the architecture of the level, but just the entire set design is so interesting. Because it's similar to the first area, but much darker.
Farewell, old life. let us start anew. The Strays were ordinary people living in the village long ago. They disagreed with the old traditions and left to form their own village, or they were thrown out for misbehaving. The stories differ a bit.
Honestly, that's one of the more difficult jumps in the game if you don't have momentum down pat.
Seemingly bottomless pits loomed below us, everywhere in the cave. The further we got, the more I felt like what faint light existed down there was getting fainter. I was really glad that I wasn't alone.
I think this is our first time we have a blind jump. It's always exciting. And I'm not just being facetious. It's actually quite exhilarating to not know what you're getting yourself into until, you're already into it.
Beware. Of what?
Of missing this reading over here. Whoop. Yeah, pretty much. I must be honest, I'm a bit rusty with the whole commentating thing, as it has been a while. But this area is definitely suiting to a more quiet style.
What was that? I had never heard a creature sounding as terrifying, and I imagined it wouldn't be happy about visitors.
Yeah, the contrast of just being able to see absolutely nothing with some very faint lights. Very cool area. We've already seen that we can light these up. And going off this direction, see something a bit strange up there. Some strange looking dolls.
You really missed Fred, didn't you?
Yeah, I sure did. I used to go to my uncle's house every single day after school to check if he was home. I loved it when he was. I got to help him with his inventions, and he told me stories of his adventures.
Like you and me, Dad.
Oh, yes. My mother didn't like it, though. She didn't want me to be there at all. Called it too dangerous. I didn't understand why then. It made me upset.
But Fred and Grandma were brother and sister. Why did they fight?
They weren't fighting, really. They were just different from each other. I longed for the time when I would be old enough to follow along on one of Uncle Fred's expeditions. But my mother never let me go willingly. Fred assured her that it would be all right, but she never seemed to stop worrying.
I'm dilly-dallying here because that's actually one of the honestly more poorly timed story dialogues, because up ahead there's a small scene that'll cut it out. So I'll make sure I don't miss any of that dialogue, because I'm not sure exactly what triggers. Maybe it's this jump, or all I know is that cutscene, that dialogue cuts off halfway quite often. But it's weird, in the middle of the chasms we find this.
See that glowing plant over there?
These oases.
I bet something will happen if you use your grapple on it.
We've already talked about this, Madeline. But yes, as she's pointing out,
Told you so.
some areas are just too dark for us to safely travel to. So, gotta use the plants. One thing about the chasms that I had a bunch of trouble with the first time was looking up. Just didn't register to me that... Oh, I messed that up. I double clicked. It just didn't register to me that, something would be upwards as opposed to just forwards.
It is really dark down there. You're not scared, are you? 'Cause I'm not.
And here we just get a bit of a more slow, methodical bit of the game. Don't know exactly where we're going, so just gotta make sure. In a game that's all about momentum and speed, it doesn't hurt to take it slow. I mean, it can, but it can also hurt to take it too fast. I totally intended to do it like that.
Fred has been with my people since the first villager was born. He helped us build the village, taught us how to speak, and helps us with everything. He taught me how to read and write as well. That's how I could learn to read the writing on the walls.
And before going ahead, get the last reading. Yep. And oh joy. If you go into the options menu, go to unlockables, goat mode. Yeah. That's it. I'm not going to be playing with that. Because I don't want to take away from a pretty good story. So, I should probably, mute my phone if I don't want to take away from the good story. That's my bad. Okay. Don't see where we're going after this, but bit of a blind jump.
Back! Get back! Whoa, dude. I think I figured out what that writing was going on about. Maybe we shouldn't charge right out in front of that thing. Remember what it said. Don't move when the eye is open.
Alrighty. I suppose since I don't have a perfect, I might as well show you what happens. Yep. Nothing too exciting. It just roars you off. If you're going fast, you can make it through 2 segments every time. If you don't mess up. I'm just gonna let it happen. Now, I'm honestly really good at this part, but just kind of messing up because, Let's Play curse or something. I could have gone to the next segment. Oh well. What's up? Yeah, if you're going at a good speed, you can make it through 2 segments every time. You don't have to do 1 segment then wait. Upwards. This one's close.
Yes! We did it! You're awesome! I knew you had it in you.
That was close. We had made it through, and I felt like nothing could stand in our way of finding Fred.
So I guess that's going to be it for this episode of A Story About My Uncle. Next time we'll be heading on to, I hate to say it, but an even cooler part of the game. The game, I believe, just gets better and better as you go on. So I guess that's going to be it for this episode. I'll see you guys in the next one. But until then, keep on keeping on.